Hi, Romans here and welcome to another music review. I review every album from a viewpoint of a musician, as I'm a singer, songwriter and a bass player for my own group Jakobe, and we have released our debut album called Pursuits in Life. What makes it unique is that it's a heavy prog rock without guitars. Instead you have drums, bass, saxophone and keyboards. You can check out 2 of our music videos on my YouTube channel. We're building our own monument and Fake the New Kind of Beauty, and also a studio live take of Away Till Pose.
Must never give in to seductive voice. This is the easiest choice. You need to find a way to oppose and let her go, let her go.
And in the description of all these videos you will find all the information about where is the record available. It's available on all digital platforms like Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, iTunes, Amazon, Bandcamp, but also in this digipack version of a CD with a very beautifully illustrated 20 pages long booklet. So in case you want one, all you need to do is contact me via an email, on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can get one through Bandcamp. And today I'm going to review the new album from Psychotic Waltz, The God-Shaped Void.
Music review. Music review.
Psychotic Waltz was this iconic underground progressive metal band from like the late 80s to mid 90s, and they basically released their first 4 albums in the 90s, with the last being released in 1996, and the God-Shaped Void, which is their newest album and also their 5th album, is their first new material in 24 years. Actually, the only other band that had kind of a similar situation and that I can think of is Dan Reed Network, who released their 3rd album in 1991 and then released the 4th album in 2016. I have no previous experience with Psychotic Waltz, so this new album is kind of like my introduction to them, and what an introduction that was. Also, one of the reasons I decided to review this album is that it kind of seems as one of the more anticipated albums in the progressive territory. So as of now I've heard it 8 times, let's dive right into the review. The album opens up with the track Devils and Angels that they also released as a single. I like the mysterious intro, and when the song kicks off it kind of reminds me of Tool. I know that Psychotic Waltz is actually an older band because they started sooner, but they kind of play that similar version of progressive metal, even though I actually prefer Psychotic Waltz. And I like the low-pitched vocals at the beginning. And also the song has a very specific mood, just like the whole album. Then another track, Stranded. This song actually sounds like a combination of Tool and Ghost, which is pretty interesting, I think, and I really like it.
Now the passenger takes control. Set our course to one direct.
I also have to say that the guitar solos are really great, and I like how much in sync with the song's vibe they are. Also, Season of the Swarm is similar in that mixture of Ghost and Tool. Another very good song is Back to Black, and I like those 90s to early 2000s heavy riffs a la Zakk Wylde. All the Bad Man is also a cool track. I like their unique style on this album. It's a catchy but dark song, and it has that overall 90s presence.
Have you heard of all the bad men? Have you heard of all the bad men?
Then Fallen is just such an epic track. I like the combination of the acoustic parts and the heavier symphonic parts, and the orchestration really brings it to another level. Similar in this regard is another track called While the Spiders Spin, and it has great lyrics, and musically and lyrically it kind of reminds me of the latest album from A Perfect Circle.
While the spiders spin in myself, I can lose my connection. While the spiders.
I love the guitar octaves in the verses of the track Sisters of the Dawn.
What have we created here? Asylum of hate and fear, alone on a godless sphere. Cry of the mutineer. I say it.
Also, the final track on the album, In the Silence, is almost like a hard rock song, but a very cool one.
We've been too long standing on this stone, this stepping stone.
One of the few really memorable moments from the album upon the first couple of listenings from me was the chorus of the track Pull the String. But, you know, for the most part this is like that heavy riffed bass track, pretty much like most of the tracks on the album, but the one thing that makes it stand apart is the flute. It just sounds super cool. And I kind of wish they used it more often on the album. I read that flute was one of the things that made them unique and made them different from other progressive metal bands. I wouldn't mind more of that on the album. Another track that also stands apart is Demystified, which is slightly more laid back, and I like that we have flute here again, even though it's a little more subtle, and the flute along with acoustic parts create like this 70s vibe. The songs on this album are quite similar to each other, which kind of may result in all of them kind of blending together upon the first couple of listenings, but I don't really think it's a bad thing because the album in itself and the songs are so unique. I can't really compare it to that many other things, and that's why it doesn't really matter. Also, I like that this is basically progressive metal, but usually when you say progressive metal, our minds immediately go to Dream Theater, as they were one of the pioneers. You know, the complex song structures, the time signature changes, the virtuosity. But I don't think that that necessarily has to be what progressive metal is about. Just look at Leprous. And I think that Psychotic Waltz is same in this regard. And I like that the songs are relatively structured in a maybe traditional way, but the music is still pretty challenging to listen to. I don't think you will really understand this album upon like the first 5 to 6 listenings. You really need to go deeper with this and you need to give it time, but the repeated listenings will reward you with one of the most unique albums I've heard in a while. Have you heard this album already? You can let me know in the comment section below whether you agreed or disagreed with me. If you are a Psychotic Waltz fan, you can let me know how well does it compare to their previous stuff, maybe which is your most favorite album or which one should I listen to next. You can follow me on Facebook or on Instagram. You can find links to both in the description of this video below. If you like this review, don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. You can check out my own original music, my live performances, my worst to best series, and quite a lot of other reviews as well. Thanks a lot for watching.